Well, there's been no shortage of hospitality shown us here in the Lone Star State, but from the shock to the justice, it was an entirely different brand. A reverse sweep in our first match of the Kickoff Clash. What a way to set the tone, Matt, for what promises to be an incredible week of games.
Yeah, what an awesome match to kick things off, right? The number 8 seed pushing the number 1 all the way to the limit. And I feel like the other matches, like that was the one match of the day you kind of looked at it and was like, this one might be, a bit lopsided. The rest of the ones looked like they were going to be really close going into it. So I'm excited to see what those matches deliver.
Absolutely. I think it was Danny earlier on sort of dubbing the Atlanta Reign as the bad boys of the Overwatch League. I thought their comments sort of after being selected by the Florida Mayhem in that sort of post-selection show were interesting. Gator said, if we don't get cheesed, we're going to be just fine against this team. But did they realize they're talking to the team that used the Maywall Sim TP to get out, do an illegal maneuver?
I wouldn't even say like the Atlanta Reign are villains. They're just a bit different than the rest of the teams in the league, right? They're willing to just go on Twitter, say what they feel like, say how it is, and never a dull moment with Atlanta. And they back it up in terms of their play. They had a little bit of a rough end, I think, to the Kickoff Clash in terms of their regular season, but this is a team who played in big matches all year last year, so fully expect them to come in here today and fire on all cylinders against Florida.
Again, this roster features veteran players from the league, and last year where they had a pretty grueling road. I mean, getting to Hawaii, playing these tough matches, a lot of travel for some really tough games, playing East versus West. And again, the Florida Mayhem, who, I mean, out of nowhere are showing us like a potential Rookie of the Year candidate in someone, incredible main tank player. This team has really shown us what you can do by just bringing really solid, coachable individuals together and giving them a game plan.
Yeah, Surmajet as well. It's been really strong for the Florida Mayhem. They've taken a bunch of different pieces from all over the place and put it together, and it's worked quite nicely. I think Hydron has also been a player on the 76 who's played really well so far this season. I'm excited to see the Atlanta Reign, though. I want to see how Atlanta bounces back from some of their stumbles towards the end of the Kickoff Clash.
Well, we can talk about that stumble, right? Because they had to go up against the Los Angeles Gladiators in their last map of that Kickoff Clash qualifier, and it was pretty brutal for them. Again, this is a team where we sort of wondered, okay, so what do you have up your sleeve? We started with Hawk showing us a lot of that Doomfist play, right? Didn't see a lot of Gator until he started to get worked in, like the Gator Winston as well, which was less expected, right? Yeah. And we saw that, I think, against the Vancouver Titans. I think the Gator Winston. There's some sort of memes about that. The Reinhardt play as well, right? This is a team that had to go up against a surging London Spitfire team who, although they haven't qualified to be here, are showing that these Reinhardt comps work really, really well. Yeah,
they were not the London Spitfire of last year, right? They look pretty competitive this year, London, right? They don't qualify for this event, but still one of the teams very closely on the outside looking in. And they play a weird play style. They just do, right? Which some teams are just not going to be able to adapt and play against on the fly, which could have happened to a lot of other teams in the league at that moment in time. Atlanta, like I mentioned, they just have some polarizing personalities, and people like to jump on it.
I mean, they also, I thought Atlanta showed us like some of the only Farah play we've seen in the West, right? We're trying to unravel that sort of Reinhardt-based composition. You probably don't expect to see that in this particular matchup. The Florida Mayhem side, I mean, we talked about Surmajet, right? So crucial to have like a key Ana player, but there's one on the Atlanta Reign side. So let's make some noise, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esports Stadium. It is the Atlanta Reign. Always have something to prove, this team. Yeah. At least they keep that chip on their shoulder for a reason.
And I have, obviously in CDL, this is an optic city. I've been on the wrong side of that fan base before, and I can tell you, it kind of brings you together as a team. Like you start to like rally around each other a little bit, and like it becomes quite funny. Like everybody hates us, and it was quite fun to just send teams home that had like these like fan bases that people loved, and you just kind of got to gloat in it. Right? I think Atlanta definitely need to kind of channel some of that energy into something positive.
Hey, they sent Gator and Venom into the starting lineup today, Matthew. Obviously, Venom showing us primarily a lot of that Tracer play. And for Gator, that's the question mark. Are we going to start to see this team pivot more in the direction away from Doomfist towards their Winston potential Reinhardt inclusions? or even in a Zai direction, right? There's a lot of ways you can go with this. Gator coming in to start, though, means that we can't be too sure about what kind of tank composition they're going to be working with.
No, and I think at some point this team has become underrated with how good OG and Ultraviolet have been, and then Kai as well.
And now for their opponents, coming in at 4th seed, making the selection, it is the Florida Mayhem.
It's a pretty loud pop for the Mayhem today.
What's not to like about this team, right? They've really impressed us. I don't think expectations were sky high for this roster. Some lesser-known names got brought in. Checkmate, last season ended up playing tank. May have MTD'd Mag at one point or another, so he was pretty aggressive in that particular role. But now we get to see him where he sort of belongs on a DPS, and he looks fantastic. Hydron as well is often being called on to sort of operate as that Soldier 76. He's been incredibly consistent. We talked about someone already, right? Just an unbelievable rookie, just really great awareness and mechanics on that Winston. He's been one of the best looks. And Sir Majid, I mean, so a couple of weeks ago, at least some of the best body grenade stats, some of the best sleep stats, everything you want from an Ana player in an Ana meta, Sir Majid has.
And Animo has been rock solid throughout his entire career in the Overwatch League, right? He has been around a very long time, I believe. Like, comes in like towards the end of season 1, I believe. Like, he comes into that New York team with Arc on it. And he kind of takes over that role. And is he the flashiest Lucio player on the planet? No. Is he a very smart, consistent Lucio player? Absolutely. And I think he's the type of leader that you need to have on this team, right? Somebody really experienced who's been there before.
Yeah, I mean, he began his stint with what, the New York Excelsior, many moons ago. A team that was really tactical, really positional, and he was a huge part of that here. I think both teams have really exciting backlines. Again, this is another matchup where I want to point to with the Ana play. Ultraviolet was the mastermind behind that ridiculous Nero Genji 5K with a cross-map biotic grenade on Eichenwalder. That just really blew many people's minds. Venom is another young Tracer superstar. He's the guy you want to have your eyes on here. If you want to see like a potential proper, Decay-esque performance, it's rumored that Venom is able to supply those, and he did in Contenders.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've seen it in the past from Venom. I also think if you're either of these teams, obviously you want to earn money here. You want to earn as many league points as possible. You want to put on a show. But these are two teams that are building towards the end of the season, right? This is not, the end-all, be-all. We see so many times throughout the league, right? A team that's really good early on, and maybe just kind of flames out towards the end. So, do not want to be in that situation. You want to be building in the positive direction all the way through, peak at the end.
Championship here is good for $75,000 and some incredible league points to help you rocket up those standings. Ilios is going to be our first map in this series. A good chance to see what Atlanta Reign's tank configuration is going to be. We expect, most likely, with Gator here, it's going to be Winston.
Yep, Winston can play some of the Reinhardt, right? We haven't seen something interesting, right? It's like Atlanta, they get tested with that Reinhardt comp that London ran. I imagine, the Atlanta Reign could put together a pretty good Reinhardt comp. And we haven't seen Florida deal with it, right?
I mean, they did. They tried to mirror the London Spitfire in that Ryan comp. Hard to do against Chatty, to be honest. But again, they give a good account of themselves, and that might be a natural look for Atlanta later in this series. But here we are, out of the gates. It's the Florida Mayhem versus the Atlanta Reign.
And on paper, you really like this setup for the Atlanta Reign. But Florida has been a very strong team throughout the Kickoff Clash. Maybe not the kind of highlight names that you see on the Atlanta Reign, but still very strong.
Venom already has to respect that threat of the Helix rocket, but Gator's gone deep and he's plucked Sir Majid out of the mix. Giving up his life in order to do so here, but OG's able to back him up.
That is a worth trade. So Gator goes to that left-hand side. He's able to jump right on top of Sir Majid, take him out, and then when they go back to the other side of the map to try and peel and get rid of Gator, it's just a speed boost from OG, brings Kai right into Hydron 2v1. They're able to deal with 76 on that side of the map.
I mean, like we said, Gator Winston was like a meme for whatever reason, maybe just inside of his team, because I know Master was teasing him about it, but in this series, he's definitely going to have to step up. It's been a great start for him, but there he overextends. The Mayhem are able to pull back, and then they snap and punish him.
Yes, I think as well for Gator, like he doesn't need to be this massive playmaker on the Winston, right? We know he's a very smart player, capable, just needs to play the roles, right? There, someone's able to take out Ultraviolet, is gonna be looking, maybe you can stall this out. It'll be OG, gets on the point, touches for a second, then it'll be Venom, now it'll be Gator.
That good stall for the Atlanta Reign. They start off well, 42% and counting here, and again, they'll be pretty happy with that to begin with, and that's off the back of Gator going and getting that pick on Sir Margit again. Punishing that Ana positioning at the start of these fights is a great way to pave the road to success. Venom is looking to do just that. Pulse Bomb here, he's pinged Sir Margit out. The stick, okay, he's able to get the Ana, who's not spry enough to get away from the blast radius.
In a way, his body just being there with the recall almost blocked him in to get hit by the Pulse Bomb. He wasn't able to walk back. That'll be a second kill coming in from Venom. It's 2 quick kills, make it 3 is kind of clean.
That's a tick mark in the box for me, Matthew. Venom starts off the fight by finding that key Pulse Bomb kill, and then he sort of follows it up well. Crucially, Atlanta don't suffer for ceding control of the point. It's only 23% for Florida to find. But here, this third fight, this is where those ultimates start to get poured out here. Keep an eye on those support ultimates. Primal Rages as well. This will be a longer one.
Still haven't, outside of that one fight loss, still really feels like Atlanta's controlled this first map. They're going to have the Nano Hydron. He got so low there, would have died otherwise.
Yeah, attack visor here, but where are the targets? It's not a target-rich environment at all. There it is. Venom steps up and is knocked back by that Helix rocket. Sound barrier got used here by the Mayhem, and Kai's able to find Sir Margit, finds a second here. Sharpest aim in the west on this man, and the Reign maintain control.
Yes, it's going to be the attack visor used by Kai there towards the end. Oh, we got to sleep here. Looks like they're going to be able to sleep. Checkmate, not able to finish him off. Now able to do so. And man, Atlanta's looked great here early on.
Yeah, boop on someone. He should be able to touch in some way. By a grenade on Gator, but a gift for someone in the back pocket. Take a Pulse Bomb. Venom is put to sleep though, and Anamo's able to move in punishment. No one can touch. A pretty stellar start for the Atlanta Reign.
I feel like Atlanta's a team that can also feed off of the environment, like the energy in the crowd, right? Can be difficult sometimes to rise to the occasion and like play up at home because you're at home. Where here I think you can kind of, you feel the more pressure. You have the fans, you know, going crazy and whatnot. Like,
the stakes are higher, right?
Yeah, and I feel like some players rise, and I have a feeling Atlanta's like one of those teams, right, that will rise to the occasion. Like, if you were to ask me like a bunch of teams like that, I was not really worried about like performance on Atlanta would actually not have been one of them because of how deep they went in tournaments last year.
Yeah.
And also they just seem like
they're used to the travel as well, the turnaround.
Yeah, and they just seem like they're not really fazed by any of the chatter or the talk or whatnot. They always come in, play pretty awesome.
Widowmaker here for Hydron. Quite the plucky pick here. Kai enviously looking across the map. Grapple to high ground here, harangued by Venom, who has to recall there. It's a very low health Sir Margit. Oh, we got Venom. Beautiful stuff. Venom again trying to be a real solo player here, but Sir Margit wasn't born yesterday.
I think you have to take that though if you're Atlanta. Like, how many times are they going to be able to take out Venom like that?
Stick around.
It also was huge that they hit a biotic grenade on the Gator early on, forced him back. Atlanta not able to gain some space.
Atlanta pushing up here. Trying to shake someone free. He eventually backs away with that rocket jump. Bit of poke here from Kai. No real commitment this left-hand side until the win. Oh my, the Winston! No body block. Kai gets his head ripped clean off there. That one's going to lay Gator low as well. Hydron has a lot of space now to work with.
Do you want to match this Widow, you think, if you're Atlanta?
If you're Kai, I'd back myself any day of the week.
Yeah.
They don't call you Kovacs Kai for nothing.
Right. I mean, his aim is just crazy good. We did see in our first series, they opted not to match the Widowmaker, right? Was happy being the 76, and it worked out quite well.
All right, a lot of pressure on Gator here. He just can't catch a break. Constantly his checkmate just harassing and working to main tank down. Whereas Venom finds himself a little out of position.
I mean, watching these 2 rounds back to back, it is like is night and day. Yeah, I mean, it is while. The swing here is Florida has been, I mean, Kai's not even to a visor yet. The pushes from Atlanta have just resulted in nothing.
Checkmate's looked really good on the Tracer so far. Okay, big bio nade there from Sir Margin, as we expect. They're able to stay alive, though. That is the Atlanta Reign. Kai gets nanoed, but says, not going to use attack visor here, and there's no one there to save him. You see the positioning of Ultraviolet? He can't see Kai at all from there. Someone is just ruining the back line.
I mean, there's not much to talk about here. This has been dominance from the Florida Mayhem. They look like they woke up here on this second point. Checkmate on the Tracer was huge. Some big biotic grenades from Sir Majid. We will go into our third point here on Ilios.
Somebody woke the Land Dragons. I have to say, someone we knew was incredible. We sort of talked him up coming into this, and maybe Checkmate got glossed over a bit while we were getting excited about Venom, but Checkmate was always able to be in position. And Hydron, just how much was he really threatened? You know, Tracer can't go upstairs, can't play that high ground positioning. It has to be Gator to dive the Widow. Hydron was just impossible to track.
And now they go back to the 76. You kind of have to. Can't play the Widow here on this map. And this is where Atlanta had a little bit of an itch. Maybe now Hydron a little bit easier of a dive target can make a play for him.
Venom. Someone you really want to keep your eyes on in this round here. Is he able to be in position? He got caught outside of the play a lot of the time in that previous round. Well, we cut to him and he's got no one anywhere, and his team's just getting annihilated by the counter dive. Someone's with a bio here. Can Venom chase? No. Sir Margin pumping him with heals. It's not going to be enough. I think Sir Margin maybe accidentally hits OG there.
I think he sleeps him. Yeah, I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just, he probably fires asleep towards the Winston.
I thought he was trying to heal up someone, right?
Yeah.
Either way, you take those. It's a trade here. Venom a little lower on health than Checkmate was when he turned up to the point, so he'll have to go back for a mini health pack. Another one from Margin, another biotic grenade on Gator.
I mean, Sir Jet basically plays like Battle Ana. I mean, when we watch from his POV, he's definitely someone who's obviously focused on healing, but looking to put down some damage as well. He does put himself in those positions sometimes as Kai with the cleanup. That'll be Florida taking the point.
A good opener again. Losing Gator early is what costs Atlanta in that fight, even if it takes a while for Florida to convert it into a capture. But no one was in control at that time, so the delay not an issue. Checkmate! Okay, gets what he came for there, and there might have been an element of trying to body block again the player before you go for the recall, prevent them from backing away from the bomb. He gets two, and that was just left on the ground. Someone slipped on a banana peel.
Yeah, now that he doesn't have to play main tank, you can start to see what Checkmate is made out of. So, which kind of shows you what went on with Florida last season.
Oh, man.
A big biotic grenade up on the high ground there.
Self-buyer for UV, had to be.
Yeah, but still you lost Kai, and he's got your visor.
I appreciate the support.
Gonna have to wait. This is gonna be probably another 10, 15%.
This is bad news for the Atlanta Reign, Matt.
Yeah.
Great job for Florida. They spend nothing for that as well. They just dive in. Margin with the bio. You can see someone now just trying to play out of line of sight as much as he can. Remain visible to his Ana. Oh, the bio. Okay, well, Primal doesn't come up in time. They lose someone.
Yeah, he was banking on getting that Primal. They actually end up investing a sound barrier here, and they're trying to hold on to this point.
Yeah, that doesn't pay off a little. I guess there's no accounting for a sort of nano visor here from Kai. And he is in a perfect position to receive the Mayhem as they drop down from the high ground. So they get 70. They still have a nano of their own for the next fight. They are going to walk into a beat.
Yes, what, you invest your sound barrier to get out nano and visor.
And lose the fight.
Yeah, but you also do get a little bit extra percentage. So looks like someone going to go to the point, and he's just trying to drag players out in the open, probably trying to set up Hydron for a big visor.
Hydron scouting here, maybe looking for Venom also if he can like flank and use a nano effectively with his own tac visor. He gets it here. That's one.
Oh, OG uses the beat but doesn't get it off.
He never got to touch the ground. Hydron shredded him to pieces before he could, so that beat we talked about completely nullified. That was an Ajax.
The point flips, and now you have nothing to use if you're Atlanta. Pulse bump for Checkmate. Seen how good Proper has been with those. He has an opportunity to seal this map in the Mayhem's favor with just this ult. Oh, but even then, someone jumps right on top of OG.
Man, he's been getting punished. Tough couple fights for OG now. The Atlanta Rain had to step up onto the point and make something happen. A warding pulse bomb dropped to the feet of Gator, but he was able to avoid it. He has to jump away though towards his backline. He needs Ultraviolet right now. Someone gets taken down by him at the very least. Hydron's though, he's on cleanup crew. There's not much that Venom can do here. No recall available. Ultraviolet going to be surrounded and removed in the Florida Mayhem. Squeaky clean in the last 2 rounds on Ilios. And they wrap it up.
Maybe like you mentioned, that first round just shake the nerves a little bit. I thought Atlanta played really good there.
Better 1 round than 2 maps like a shock map.
Yeah, that is also true. As fans coming out with the Mayhem signs today. Yeah.
Unofficial slogan. Shout out to Brickell Street, of course, very important historical feature of Miami. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back on the other side of these messages. The Mayhem start the series. It's 1-0. kind of mention it briefly. A little bit of a slow start for the Florida Mayhem on Ilios, but they recover awfully quickly. And all of a sudden, we start to see the Atlanta Reign get completely rolled. Honestly, very hard for them to start anything off in that round.
Yeah, after the first round, it was all Florida Mayhem. And how do you bounce back if you're the Atlanta Reign? Looks like we do have some subs for Atlanta. So you'll have Nero in for Venom. Then you also have Hawk in for Gator. So it actually seems like these players are almost like tied to each other in a way. Like when we see Gator come in and he's going to play the Winston, they kind of bring in Venom to match the Tracer with that. And they're looking for different types of stuff, right? Whether it be Zarya-based compositions, Doomfist, they end up bringing in Nero because he's a little bit more flexible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Mayhem, I think it's pretty safe to say, it's a little bit risky for them to run that Winston Tracer comp at this level. It looks like it's not quite worked out yet, especially against a team like the Florida Mayhem, who, that's their bread and butter, right? That's exactly the kind of style they like to go for. Atlanta Reign have had a lot of success working Doomfist comps, but there are some teams that are starting to be able to figure them out, play around them, unravel them just a little bit. But we saw them so heavily featured in that previous series. Between the Shock and the Justice, that is quite clear there's still a lot of run in Doomfist comps.
Yeah, and I'm surprised we haven't seen some more teams mess around with some of the Zarya-based compositions. I think that's something that I think will come back, and I think teams will be able to play it at a high level, and I think it'll be successful against some of these compositions that people are running now. You feel like Atlanta has a roster that would be able to do something like that with Hawk in as that, you know, solo tank type player. It'll be interesting what they decide to run here on King's Row, though, as that's the map that they decide to go to. You think King's Row? That's like a spot for the Reinhardt, you know, even Winston, pretty good on King's Row. What do you go with? Do you go with like a really aggressive Doomfist style of play? Do you try and play some Zarya here? What are your options for Atlanta?
I mean, we see Nero come in, right, can mean multiple different things. That guy's very flexible. You know, I talked about right at the start of this sort of segment, actually, that, you know, we saw him play Pharah last week. He's played so much Echo in his time as well.
In the past?
Yep. Kind of everything. Even a bit of Tracer in his time. Yeah. I guess the question really is here is, you know, what do the Atlanta Reign fall back on a map like King's Row, which we still see a ton of Winston play on? And it's really hard to defend with Winston on King's Row in general, right? Like that first pick, it's hard to break line of sight. If you try and back around the hotel as defenders, you usually get chased here. So it feels like a fine map to have that Doomfist look here. And that's what we saw, right? Even, you know, up against a Reinhardt comp, we saw this Atlanta Reign team play the Doomfist look. I think it was against the Gladiators, actually. Yeah. Didn't go well for them, though, Matt. So this is their map pick, though. They're definitely feeling confident. The hope is, have they got something new?
I mean, maybe they don't even need something new, right? Because you know that Florida will most likely end up playing something Winston-based, so you don't exactly need to kind of recreate, you know, make up a new strat out of nowhere, right? You can kind of go back to some of the stuff that was working for the Atlanta Reign a little bit earlier in the season. So right now it'll be the Florida Mayhem kicking things off on D. They'll be hovering over this Winston-based composition. The only thing different is you have Checkmate. He's looking like he's going to play the Echo.
I wonder if is this a concession for the Doomfist potentially?
So actually, it's probably a call when you see Hawk and Nero come in the game. You probably assume like that, you know, if they were going to play Tracer the whole time, they would let Venom in, right? Maybe you can force them to switch to Tracer by playing the Echo and being effective and really giving them problems.
Obviously, Tracer an option for both Kai and Nero, but just a pick we see a little less from them. I mean, that's why they have that Tracer specialist in Venom on this team.
So I like this from Atlanta.
Ooh.
So
something new.
Yeah, and I was saying I really like these compositions that include the Zarya. I think the double bubble with the Zarya with the Reaper in the mix is so strong. We see Dallas Fuel do it, and their timing and the way they play it is like to perfection. I think it can definitely give a lot of other teams some issues, though.
Someone will be the welcoming party for now, and he's, well, given a bionic grenade to go back with. Again, trying to break the line of sight. Here's what you have to do. You have to play inside this building. And the Reign looked to slowly scale up their control, but Hawk took a ton of damage on the approach here.
Yeah, he got hit by something. I mean, he is basically dead as Nero goes to the high ground. Gets a bubble, drops down. So you see it's basically the Atlanta Range trying to chase the Florida Mayhem down. Is an odd spot to be fighting in.
Oh, I mean, someone's in the perfect position. He just rotates behind them. The problem with the Rain is that map, their positioning, their maneuvering, it's a little telegraphed. They go where the Zarya goes.
Well, I mean, they have no mobility. Nobody can access high ground alone outside the Reaper. So everybody else you know is going to be walking around together.
Is this the right comp for Atlanta to play for this part of the map?
Well, if you were going to play something else, what would it be? It would have been like a Doomfist, right? But I think your
Doomfist dive, yeah.
They're so spread out. You don't really have a great opportunity to dive, right? Hydron's going to put down a ton of damage. That's a long-range shot from OG on a Hydron.
That's poke.
Or you would have played something Winston-based, so they're clearly not. So I think this is probably their best shot.
Attack for Kai, but he's going to be pressured immediately by the Winston. Checkmate's felled by Nero, though, and someone is sleeping it off. That first pick really turns into a golden opportunity for the Rain here to have this point, and someone's not getting out of this one alive. There's no way. Oh my God, are you kidding? Dancing the bubble. What a magician. Sleep dart towards Nero, and he's taken down. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and they end up using their sound barrier and their attack visor here in Atlanta. So they're just trying to get this 2nd%. Oh, nice biotic grenade there. So you can maybe use your sound barrier here if you're the Florida Mayhem and try and fight this.
Hawk shrugs off that bio with a self-shield. I think that's 2 used from him, though. Yeah, it's got none available. It's going to have to be a grab to bail him out here. Checkmate was able to laser down Kai, but Nero is in the thick of things just where he wants to be.
Yeah, and Checkmate ends up using his duplicate there. So nice first push here by the Atlanta Rain as they'll take point A. And I wonder if you're going to see some changes come out here for the Florida Mayhem. I think this is a really good call for Atlanta. Put some pressure onto someone, right? Get the Reaper in his face, force him out. Make it difficult for the supports where they can't play as offensive. They have to try and keep some of these players alive because the Reaper and the Zarya are going to come in and do tons of damage.
Now, the high ground should be less of a concern, but the Mayhem want to use it as a staging ground by going the long way around. So Margin might have to physically drop here. I love that positioning here from Kai. Just in case there's a drop down, he's playing back and safe. The biotic grenade really sets someone up there, but I mean, it's a heavy toll that is being levied at the Mayhem to try and get anything going here. The Rain definitely were expecting something like this.
Oh, for sure. And I think they know that they have this composition that they can fall back on and could possibly work as the payload will keep on moving. And Hawk being able to do this type of work and damage and not even like really fully charged, sitting at like 50% there, 60%. You get one of these fights that kind of has all 10 players in it. He's going to get up to 90%, 80% charge without the bubbles are, with 2 bubbles now for Zarya. Him and Nero can just get sped boost in and just clean people up.
Hawk has a bubble in reserve here, uses it on his Reaper, so Nero is nanoed and ready to rumble. Can't really get close enough to get value out of it, though. The Mayhem keep a respectful distance. I mean, Nero's in a great spot here to intercept Checkmate, who just gets enough altitude to avoid the damage. But now he's right in front of someone. And a bubble for Nero. Yeah, you really can't stop this Reaper. It's so scary as Winston to play around this.
Look at the position he can play from. He's basically playing almost like main tank as Hog is going to play in that off-tank role where you had Nero on the cart. He's inside of the Winston bubble. He's just battling someone. And what does someone do? If a bubble comes in, does he shoot Nero? Because if he gets him low, guess what? He's going to Wraith Form go away. And then you're going to have a charge up Zarya stepping up to the plate, who's probably pretty healthy at that time. It's a really difficult thing to deal with.
Atlanta showing us that they've definitely been working on something in preparation for the kickoff clash. So far, this composition has really worked wonders for them. Attack visor here. Checkmate, I think he had to dump altitude into the pit to avoid that. Kai's wondering where he's going to come back up. Oh, that's been answered. There he is. Helix rocket connected. Hawk. Yeah, Graviton Surge, Dead Blossom's all there. The Atlanta Rain are starting to just punish the Mayhem here. So much time left on the clock. Hydron with the biotic field here trying to duel with Nero, who thought to close the gap, and the Zarya bubble helps him stay nice and hale and hardy. Duplicate on the Zarya here. What can Checkmate do? Can he build a grab? Not quite. Not enough time there. Takes to the skies, but he's limping.
And it's just people trickling out of the spawn one by one. A map completion, 2:24 on the clock. You talk about a way to punch back. If you're the Atlanta Reign, that is a haymaker thrown right in the Florida Mayhem's direction.
And again, we saw Hawk come in. First thought was, is that Doomfist going to make another appearance? And it's quite clear to see that a lot of teams feel that Zarya composition is really like the next step, the next evolution in our metagame here. Remember, this is the Mayhem at 4th seed and the Reign at 7th. Atlanta have a pretty rough ending to the Kickoff Clash qualifiers, right? They end up 3-3.
What is that sign? It was they took it away. It just was us. I mean, I think we lost the other part, but there's probably something else to it. Yeah.
They're at concession stand right now.
All right. Everybody's making their signs, bringing them out tonight.
Shout out Super.
Super as well.
Shout out Super.
Super's a nice guy.
+7 for the Florida Mayhem, that map differential across the entirety of the Kickoff Clash qualifiers. I mean, they were in a position with, maybe one more win to, be 2nd place. Winton jump, Winton not, Winton zap, Winton nap. Shout out YouTube chat for that one.
I always struggle when things from chat make it into real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens. They're basically the same thing, Matt.
I saw some people walking in with Morbius t-shirts.
There were a whole contingent of people with Morbius t-shirts. That's really committing to the meme. I've got to commend you for that.
That's too funny.
Good heavens. Right, now, 2 minutes 24 on the clock for the Atlanta Reign. That is, I mean, let's be honest, by standards, that's super comfortable.
Blistering speed, yeah. So now you can play the Doomfist on defense, right? Play a little bit more aggressive. The Doomfist and the Genji.
Ultimately, you have to pressure that Ana, otherwise the Winston never dies.
Yeah, I don't think you can play, like, the Zarya is just so passive on the defensive end here. I think you
they just jump over your head.
Right, yeah, you have to play something else.
A moment from Hydron here, a quick peek and a switch. To the Soldier, 76. Okay, so Nero on the Genji here on defense. I did wonder if there was like a Tracer, potential here for the Reign, but they don't go for defensive Echo, interestingly enough.
Yeah, they decided to go with the Genji and the 76 on defense, so Nero opting for the Genji. Maybe it just feels a little bit better on the Genji as opposed to Tracer, this type of scenario.
That was really nice pressure on Hydron from Hawk, and then there's a Bionade from UV. Great way to keep him quiet, but not for long, apparently. That's got to be a max-range Helix. Yeah, I mean, the Ana was in the window above the point, and Hydron just sends it. Wow.
I mean, Soldier 76 really strong. I know you're able to land a few of those shots. A Helix is a direct hit at range.
So, back to the Reaper guy.
Well, so obviously we talked about how it's a little bit passive on the beginning of this map, but in the second stage of the map with the close quarter scenario, you actually think that the Zarya and the Reaper could be quite effective.
Yeah, absolutely. High ground, less plentiful for the Florida Mayhem. They have to work their way through this choke, so the Atlanta Reign look to really try and burn as much clock as possible in this part of the map specifically. See that pressure from Sir Majid, wants to try and peek, and he'll have to be able to peek like this to see his Winston. Maybe he would have hoped to maybe give a bio to someone as he went forward there, but yeah, someone is... Yep, that'll happen. And you don't have great sightlines as Ana to really see your main tank there. You risk taking a ton of soldier poke damage. This is terrible for Ana.
It's difficult. It's going to be difficult for someone to gain some space in this area of the map. Like when he goes in, you're going to have the Reaper there. You're going to have the Zarya all charged up. And even for the rest of the team, the follow-up, right? You're just going to have the Zarya controlling this choke.
Yeah, Zarya just pushes in after the Winston goes over her head.
Yeah.
She's got a ton of charge, and she'll burn down one of your key backliners.
Extremely tanky bubbles coming up.
This is a good solution. Push forward with a big nano visor. Slapped! Not ideal for Hydron. Now we're a little bit dicey. He's still able to get OG and make a getaway. Ridiculous.
It's a good idea.
Nothing subtle about it, really.
No. Let's use Nano Boost, let's use a visor, and we'll run it though.
It's nice to know that, at the fundamental level, Overwatch still caters to the primal urges of press W, use ultimate.
Yeah. It's been a lot of teams who have made a decent amount of money off of W press ultimate.
Shout out my boy Bumper. 3:38 on the clock here for the Florida Mayhem. don't have to deal with such an oppressive choke scenario anymore. So very good situation for them. Hawk hasn't really built that grab yet. Obviously didn't play Zaya from the start of the round. And someone would love to drop down into the kiddie pool and start throwing hands.
I think he's cautious, just trying to figure out where this Reaper's going to go.
Yeah, into the back line he goes. Sound barrier for the Florida Mayhem, except Hydron. Attack Visor's going to wake someone up who has a primal rage, but really doesn't want to have to use it. Kai looking, searching, finds very little with that tactical.
Yeah, buys you a little bit of space, but it doesn't matter because someone's going to come back in with the primal rage. Didn't have to burn it there. Knocking Nero off the side. I think Hydron stole that one with a Helix, but we talked about how good the Atlanta Reigns time is. Florida Mayhem answering right back.
I mean, you can't do anything about someone after your Lucio, your key boop against the Winston, just gets blown up by Sir Margit before the fight begins. That's the threat of having someone like this Ana superstar in your back line.
So you think grab here is a fight win?
It should be. If Ultraviolet especially, there'll be a Winston bubble thrown down around it. Ideally, maybe you play around the timing of that, but you need to hit the bio.
A fight win with a grab here, you're basically securing yourself a better time right away.
Unless Checkmate duplicates Zaya, double bubbles.
Yeah.
Could be a different story. Hawk's not very charged up here, so I'm okay with this, but in the meantime, Nero, yeah, doing a lot of work with that nano boost.
Yeah, they like to just dump nothing into it. Florida. They see Nero, he ends up getting a nano boost. Hawk ends up using the grab. They lose one player, they lose someone at the beginning. They decide, you know what, let's just not throw anything else into this. We come back in this next fight, right? Maybe you can just use the visor. Maybe you can save nano. Maybe you can use just the duplicate, right? Make a play. And you win that, you have some ultimates left for the end of the map.
It's good composure from Florida here. Playing around their ultimate economy. There's that boop, right? That's what you need at the start of these fights. Hydron, oh, there it is. Great sleep from Ultraviolet. He had to hit that. Shuts down the key damage threat, but there's more follow-up than just the Soldier 76. Florida, they spend here. Checkmate with a duplicate of the Zaya. 2 ult fight, 3 ult fight, excuse me. And they get what they came for. Now it's a little scary for Atlanta.
Yeah, this Atlanta, they're going to come back. They're going to have another opportunity here. They're going to end up getting sound barrier, but most likely so will the Florida Mayhem. As Florida has a few players back up a little bit. And it's going to be Hydron with a long-range kill.
Hawk there, I think he had to use a bubble to get rid of his own biotic grenade, or the anti-heal that was on him. Still Florida, another boop. Nicely done by OG, and that's going to be key to keep someone off your backliners here. Put him in the purview of that Reaper attack visor from Kai right now. Someone going for a primal. Half the Mayhem is still prodding here. They're trying to find an opening. They get one with a Helix rocket onto Kai, but they've lost the Winston again. Sound barrier comes in and blows it all up.
And the sound barrier was just a second late, so they're not able to keep someone alive. So you're going to lose Checkmate as well. As see, 1 minute and 46 on the clock. That is where the payload is. It's a last-ditch effort. It's okay, we're going to see the Reinhardt base composition come in here for the Florida Mayhem. So Reinhardt mixed with the May.
Okay, Florida trying to go for some psychological warfare against the Reign.
Hanzo
putting their worst nightmare in front of them. The Hanzo for Kai. Make use of this high ground that's natural to you as a defender here. I love this look from the Mayhem. Okay. Checkmate worried about maybe the Hanzo giving the headshot. He goes for an ice block there awfully early.
Yeah, just spamming the arrows possibly through there, but still ice block is a huge cooldown.
Okay, they don't really find much Great Maywall that's going to pretty much negate a lot of that Graviton surge. Someone's bioed right now though, and Hydron's going to go for it. OG trying to back away. Langlo in the corner is Ultraviolet. Arnamo is felled, and Hydron is frustrated as he's foiled with that ultimate. Can only find the one. Ultraviolet's still alive, and Hydron's team gets plucked out from under him. We're inside a minute left.
So the beat again for Atlanta, as Atlanta trying to hold on strong. Their point A defense was not good, Mitch, but as soon as they were able to play this Zarya composition, they looked quite strong. As a Cassidy comes out here at the end.
Hydron on the Cowboy. Don't see much of that at all so far. We'll see how impactful it ends up being. Still pretty threatened by the Hanzo, and you don't have a flashbang anymore, so free damage for Nero. I'll take that, he says. That shield from someone is really low. He's punished. But checkmate. An ice spike to the dome. And now the Mayhem are in position. Someone's shield ever low, but Kai gets hit with the mag grenade. Here's a sound barrier. It's only going to be provided for 3 players for the Atlanta Rain. Hawks under pressure. Hydron can keep popping away at distance, and someone hits him with the charge. Hydron again. Another mag grenade connection. Ultraviolet looking a little scared in the corner now. Dragon Strike comes through, but the Blizzard's thrown down, and the Mayhem finished the map.
Still, best Florida can do is draw here, right? So the Atlanta Rain, they'll have 2:24 to take checkpoint A. See if they're able to do so. Win map number 2 would be a big bounce back after, you know, they looked good in the first point of map number 1. Fell apart after that, but bringing in Hawk and Nero look quite good running these Zarya-based compositions. As take a look on Florida, you know, it looks like they're talking a little bit, deciding what to possibly run here at the start.
Whichever way you slice it, Atlanta Rain's sort of move to a Zarya-based composition is really, it's working. They can absolutely make it happen with this team composition, right? Nero, you think back as well to his stint on the San Francisco Shock, there was like a really long time where it was like a Reaper, Lucio Moira-based meta, right, with the Winston, and Nero was, you know, playing a lot of the DPS heroes in that sort of setup, so this is super natural for him. Kai obviously won't play the Widow for the entire round here, and look, we know Hawk. I think his prowess is definitely more, he's more known, you know, for his just, you know, his Diva, his Sigma as well in time, but like, looks pretty natural for him as well. He's looking great as a, you know, previous flex tank in Overwatch 1.
5, 4.
Yes, you know, I think all the flex tank players in the past, they're all capable of playing Zarya, and I think especially now that Zarya has changed with this 2-bubble setup, and like I feel like way tankier. It's probably even a little bit easier to pick her.
I thought the Cassidy pick was interesting in that it really punishes her within Cassidy's like optimal range, and you saw that like a lot of bubbles from Hawk were getting forced at the end of the round, but you don't dare do it here. That's a beautiful sleep, but following up on that one is going to be
way to really follow it up. Yeah, especially now and I guess you force the bubble out, but it does not matter. Sir Majid.
The poke. They blew up that bubble so quickly. Nero lucky to get away with his life there, but Sir Majid doesn't have a beat on someone right now. Doesn't matter. This guy's filthy.
Nothing happening there for the Atlanta Rain. So it's about a minute off the clock in terms of their time. Nobody close to really anything at this moment.
No.
Maybe you're building up towards this nano of ultraviolet. You can use that on a Nero, but still, it's going to be Nero's going to have to close the gap, right? Like a TP, you get booped, the nano kind of goes for naught.
Hawk is really charged right now. He's maintained that from that previous fight, so he sat front and center on the point here, daring people to challenge. Only 1 tick, remember, that's all the Atlanta Rain needs. So this is dicey already. Someone, how do you keep that Winston topped up? You've got to touch the point. It's the Florida Mayhem. It's Checkmate who has to hover down, but they're going to be forced away. And the Atlanta Rain show us something new, and it works. They're going to even up the series here as the Mayhem struggle to find a way to deconstruct the Zarya composition.
Yep, as Hawk stands in position on the point, charged up. They get someone weak. What happens as soon as that? They see he's weak, they nano the Reaper, they send him in, and that's the cleanup they need.
Now just how deep is this Florida Mayhem playbook, ladies and gentlemen, because they need to find a way to get out of this particular situation. Do they have the goods and the answer to the Zarya-based composition? Stick around, we're bound to find out. Do you think you know which team will win the Kickoff Clash? Prove it! Submit your art celebrating the team you think will be victorious for a chance to be featured on the Fan Art Gallery. Incredible art there from 17 Woo. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm a weeb. I'm about that. Incredible.
So the sign that we just caught the us at the end.
It was USA, right?
No, it's Morbius in the end.
God damn it!
Man, there you go.
I'm really glad you clarified that, Matt.
Yeah, I got tweeted at me and I was like, I'm dead. That's so funny. I was like, yeah, I don't know why I thought
How many of these people have actually seen the movie?
I don't know why people just bring a sign that says us as well and just hold it out. It doesn't really do anything. Venom.
Speaking of Marvel movies.
In for Nero. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And then you also have Gator coming back in for Atlanta. So the map pick going over to the Florida Mayhem, they decide to take us to Watchpoint Gibraltar. So that should tell you a little bit why we're seeing some of these substitutions. A lot of verticality on this map. Can't really play the Zarya-based stuff. Even like Doomfist, like it's very difficult. Like you have to kind of play Winston here.
It really adds a bit of extra importance to map selection in this series because it's pretty clear to see that these two teams favor very different styles. Florida looks most at home on that Winston dive-based setup, and they don't really feel comfortable playing against the Zarya Reaper with that Winston setup. We may get a map 5 just because of that. It really depends if if the Rain loses one, which is not guaranteed. If they choose one that plays into more of their style, it's a push map, right? So can you do that? Not so sure.
You might be able to. Like New Queen Street, you can probably play some of that. Potentially.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's going to be the real tell-all sign, I think. But Gibraltar is an exciting map. It also means that we know that both of these teams, they're harboring known Widowmaker players, right?
Oh yeah.
And this map's a great opportunity to bust that out. We often see that on the first point especially, and if you get rolling as an attacker, you ain't switching. You're clicking heads.
It was the Atlanta Reign not opting for the Widowmaker early on in the series, right? With the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, it was on Ilios, right?
On Ilios, yep. Opting to play the Widowmaker for a little bit. So see here what both teams signed to do. Looks like the Florida Mayhem going to come out and play the Widow off the rip. So Atlanta Reign obviously still some time to decide. Could use like a TP up to the high ground. You can play the Widow. I find Widow to be, you don't want to say like essential here, but the sight lines are so long.
It's too long for Soldier, right?
And it's, especially when the other team's playing it, and it's also just too long for Ashe. You're almost forced into the Widow matchup just to keep the other team honest.
2, 1. Attackers.
And so it will be. Both sides open with the Widow. Venom going to TP. Just to send Gator across, and then back on that signature Tracer pick. A little bit quiet, Venom, when we saw him in that first map here. A chance to come alive and make all the difference.
At least so in the flow of the game, right? Played in map number 1, map number 2. It's not extended that long. So see Hydron taking a lower angle here.
I mean, Widow can't take you by surprise if you hold that angle. First person I saw doing it was Victoria, playing like a more passive Widowmaker mirror. You just want to take safe angles here if you're defending because there are so many options to attacking Widows. If you get caught by surprise and punished, then it's on you. Glacial pace early.
Kai trying to find an angle in this Widow, but nothing. I mean, all right, we finally got a kill.
A great setup. I mean, yeah, the Una's a big part of that as well. Ultraviolet sets Gator up for that kill, and he just stays a little too long. You see, the Bionode came too late in the day, and Hydron, I mean, Ultraviolet had to get out of position to go for that bio onto his Winston and walk straight into the crosshairs of Hydron.
Yeah, we've seen a few times with Atlanta when they're playing this Winston-based comp where they'll get that first pick, but they'll end up losing the fight. We saw that a little bit on Ilios this time. They get that first pick, they try and push all the way in, and they're not able to get anything else after that. So now you're just going to have this battle for high ground, I feel like. It's just going to be jostling for position.
Gator bioed here. This will slow him up. Let's not note the bring as well for the Atlanta Reign, and the counter Widow duel by Hydron. Plucky rookie. Oh my, Venom was not ready for that.
And Gator got slept there, so not able to do much of anything. So this will be a nano onto someone. He'll drop down from the high ground as Two really anticlimactic fights.
Yeah, this is definitely developing in the direction we kind of expected just based on the map pick and how these two teams prefer to play.
Well, I think it's just when you bring the Widowmakers into the mix, it just slows the pace down so much. Especially at this level of play. You know, you play at home, like it doesn't really matter. But at this level of play with like Infrasight now, like it'll slow things down even further.
Pulse for Venom, not fruitful. He's going to have to wait now with that recall down for another 7 seconds. Sees his nano gated though. Where do they send this Winston? Mayhem are just completely disengaging. Someone has to prime to get back into the fight. Looks like he wasn't close enough to his healer, but he slept in the back line here, and Checkmate is trying to keep this going all on his own. Classy little recall to get out of the reach of Gator and Venom, who are just sheltering in the bubble for the time being. That means Hydron can't do too much. But the infrasight is really important for someone up here to make sure he knows what he's walking into. Jumps into the rally here. He's waiting for the mini to come back. He's going to survive this for a little while. Buying time for Hydron to get rid of Ultraviolet. Now in a longer fight, it could go against the rain. They've lost their honor.
Yeah, it's just, can you get players back for the Florida Mayhem as you still have the Brig on the point?
Guess not.
So that'll be Checkmate bowing out as Atlanta, they will take checkpoint A, but took a while to develop.
Yeah, building up the head of steam, spinning tires for a little bit. But the Rain still have ample time to make their way through the shuttle phase here. And Gator obviously knows he can drop down, harass people on the high ground, jump back up, continue to cycle that ability. He wants to maintain this position as long as he can. Kai, I think, backed away from a Tracer there. Looks like Checkmate was harassing.
These Widow duels, though, throughout this map are so important. Now, your Widow gets the better of the other one. It's impossible to get this high ground. Just opens up the whole map for the rest of the team.
Sleep on Gator was good, but Sumaja wasn't expecting him to be roused so quickly. And yeah, the Atlanta Rain start their fight really well. It's a Venom Pulse Bomb that opens up. Someone was removed from the equation really early.
2 minutes 20, you're going to get past the shuttle here for Atlanta Rain. You're going to get high ground control for the Widowmakers, so really good position here to take this second checkpoint. Oh, Surmagen with a big biotic grenade, though.
OG didn't know what hit him. Venom's able to shrug it off at the very least, but Kai has already a good position. So anybody trying to move out into the open here is going to walk into his sights, and Kai finds both DPS. That's the scary part about dealing with attacking Widows that have position. 1 more second, Kai will be toast, but the card is sailing home, and someone can only look on in dismay. That's 2 checkpoints for the Rain.
Florida makes it interesting towards the end, but interesting, not good enough to result in a fight win. So come into this next fight if you're Atlanta. 3 minutes on the clock, sitting a pretty good time here on Gibraltar, because this is the Florida Mayhem map pick. And look at this, I mean, you're going to have Infrasight, you're going to have your Pulse Bomb, and they've given up on the Widowmaker selection. They go to Soldier 76 towards the end, where you can get Kai set up. Like, you get a fight win and you get Kai set up, it is going to be just like that the rest of the game.
Yeah, he's starting to pick up speed, and how the heck is Hydron supposed to challenge this? Beautiful shot as Checkmate is mid-flight. Nasty headshot on the Tracer, and the man don't miss. Pressure now from the Winston, juggling him. Not able to pull off a happy moment there as someone finds 2 key kills to put the Mayhem in a position to regroup.
I think, though, you let Kai get to that position again.
Oh, man.
And you're set up a little bit better from Atlanta. I don't know if it's going to go that way for Florida. He's not going to miss those shots. I mean, look at the one that he hit on the Hydron.
If this is Rust, someone's putting the bedroll up there.
You know, he misses the first one. He's not going to miss that second one.
Stunning stick from Venom, though, as well. He's been chiming in at some really key moments. First, it was a kill on someone. Now, Sumaja. Checkmate. Don't know what happened there, but he's out of the fight for now, and the Rain are looking pretty good, man.
Yeah, but now you're going to get Kai set up on the high ground. Gator here at the spawn door. It's Atlanta looking to set a good time.
Yeah, Kai's position is nasty. There's nothing the Mayhem can do about that Widowmaker. They just have to hope they can dodge or not get hit by the shots, but you can't bank on Kai missing. That's just unreasonable. Gator takes a ton of damage, though, as he tries to get this home. It doesn't matter. The Rain advance. And they look good now on this Winston comp, especially when they can get Kai on the Widow.
And you see at the end the position that Surmagen has to play from, right? He's crouched behind those poles there because he knows the Widow is directly above him. If he stands up, he's an easy target. So what? He has to just sit there and avoid the line of sight. As
I mean, switching to the Soldier feels like an admission of defeat there. if you're Hydron.
It does, yeah. It's a pretty good time for Atlanta. So I think that's going to be a big confidence booster for the Atlanta Reign to be able to...
Shout out Collegiate Overwatch, go Storm!
Oh, yeah. We cast Harrisburg?
Yeah, we're in Harrisburg.
I was going to say last year, but definitely not last year. It was many years ago.
Quite a few years back now.
Time just went. Good time for Atlanta. Minute 27. Not bad. Complete the map. You gain a little bit more confidence playing this Winston-based stuff, right? Maybe you scare Florida a little bit. You know, you pick this map. You want to do this? Let's see. So,
oh, you dirty. Yeah. Fancy footwork from Ultraviolet, stepping up to the big sort of Ana duel. Well, what do you do here if you're the Mayhem? I mean, do you try and challenge Kai on the Widow? Do you sort of...
You have to.
Oof.
I mean... the sight lines here are too long. Unless you're going to play something like a Tracer Genji type of like dive and go all
Not
out.
this again. McGravy! Is this your idea? Yeah, you best be switching.
Not for long.
All right. I knew you some shenanigans up. All right, so they go for the Genji Tracer. Tell us about this, man. Like, what's the objective here? We also have the brick for Anima.
So you're not going to play the Widowmaker. You need characters that can close that gap. Otherwise, we talked about it. Soldier 76, not effective at those long sight lines. You know, Ashe, not effective at that long of range either. So what are your options? You're not going to play like an Echo and fly through the sky. Reaper doesn't really offer a ton here. You kind of have to play the Tracer Genji, use the mobility of both characters to get behind enemy lines. It's just not that easy.
I mean, Kai finds Hydron with a headshot there somehow. Someone bubbles up though. Gives a pretty safe vantage point for the rest of the Mayhem to play, bro. I mean, you're dicing with death there, but someone is fearless. Runs Kai down.
So it also offers, you don't have to really go for the Widowmaker, right? You have a little bit more burst damage with this kind of a composition, right? The dash through the Genji from one angle, the Tracer, the Winston jumps on top of you and just blows up a target, where maybe you can just avoid the Widow battle altogether. Someone gets hit with a biotic grenade. Gator wants to chase.
I love that from Gator. I don't know if you'll get there though. Surely you have a Tracer though that can get that done. And yeah, Kai for two, and Animo gets picked off by Gator. Lovely stuff from Atlanta.
If I'm Atlanta as well, I do not overreact and change off of this. You have Kai, and he's such a talented player in these hit scan rolls. This is a map and portion of the map made for Widowmaker. You give him the opportunity to like win you the game, so to speak, right? Where he was coming through on offense consistently. If you let's say you gave up here, you have the shuttle to play from, you're still in a great spot.
Nano is on deck for Sir Majid. Somehow Ultraviolet just gets a couple stick shots on the Hydron. I want to point out that it's such a big difference here between like a preset map pool that we get in regular season play or qualifier play, and then being able to sort of choose your map based on sort of win or loss. It's what allows the, obviously the Reign, maybe had some trouble with the Mayhem.
Yeah.
But they get to choose maps that sort of benefit them. And this is great. This is the Mayhem's map pick, and Atlanta look comfortable as heck.
Also, there's really no excuse.
Like Hydron's getting ruined.
Yeah. If you lose, let's say the higher seed and you lose the series, you lost 3 maps you selected.
Yep.
It's really not much you could kind of go out on that. So Florida, you can tell how they've just got like just nothing in these last few fights. I mean, you have all 5 ultimates coming into this one, a minute on the clock. I mean,
This could be it.
I mean, you have to dump everything in here, right? But the thing is you dump all these ultimates in. Kai is playing the Widowmaker, it's just one shot, one kill, right? Could ruin everything.
Gator gets the nano boost here. For now, he's just going to take his time, look for Vantage. Sees checkmate. Would love to be able to stick to him, but he can't now. Bit awkward for Atlanta. They're maybe hoping to get Ultraviolet back in the fight, but that's the stick that we're looking for. Hydron goes fishing and comes up with a big one.
Yeah, primal for Gator. He'll keep this one going, and OG is going to be very close to a sound barrier.
Pulse not connecting from Venom there. He doesn't find the target he was looking for, and Hydron runs him down. Now this Tracer Genji composition is starting to build up steam. And the Reign get forced back. Florida get an extension.
Yeah, Gator's not going to make it out, but this life goes a little bit deep there as you hold on to 3 key ultimates, and right away he jumps right on top of the shuttle. You know there's no Gator to occupy this space. You want to deny it from the Widowmaker.
Someone will perch up here for the time being. Sound barrier is available for OG. Keep an eye on that one. So Margin unperturbed by the sleep that came in. And you can see the Gators above them on top of the shuttle trying to pressure them down. Someone found Kai with that primal, and it looks like he's not done yet. He's happy to create this space here. Prevent the rain from getting inside the shuttle phase as Gator was cut off from the rest of his team.
Yeah, like losing Gator late there on point A is really backbreaking there. As you have Kai switching over to Soldier, trying to come back and make a play, because you've lost complete high ground control here.
Sound barrier, it's going to come out here from OG and the blade from Checkmate. That sound barrier is going to be gone in just a moment. This Genji could be punishing. He's looking for the Ana, but the pulse bomb found them first. Hydron descends upon the back line. And the Mayhem continue to find extra bursts of momentum. Another time bank extension.
Yeah.
3 minutes and 3.
So I wouldn't even panic if you're the Atlanta Reign. You never got an opportunity to pretty much defend that, because you were never able to get shuttle control. You're never able to get high ground. Not able to set your Widowmaker up in that position. Kai will go back to Widow, as now you can own this high ground.
With Hydra on the Soldier 76, you have one less element to threaten the Widow that's entrenched here defensively. Beautiful pulse. But nothing from it there. Venom could have sworn he had the stick. So here's the dive. This is the attempt for the Mayhem to unseat Kai to pressure him down, but he drops down and backs up. At least some space is created here as the cart will proceed.
It makes it hard to get around this corner, right? Because if someone goes and dives Kai, he'll grapple up top. If he puts a bubble down low, like you can get up top and you have you have the advantage of the sight over it.
Nano Gator here. Who's he looking for? Whip shot's going to keep him at bay, and Animo even fancies a little bit of action himself. In he goes. Gator can't do too much to try and hold ground if he can, but even that seems to be hard as the card continues to pressure. Checkmate over the high ground as the Genji now going to force the primal out of Gator, but Venom's going to go down. Hydron is able to find him with the Helix rocket. Kai chimes in. Checkmate's life is cut short, but that card's getting awful close, and yep, Hydron knows his legs are the only thing that could have saved him.
Yes, you're going to have someone get a primal rage, and he's going to pop it. He's going to take out OG, as Florida wants to try and keep pushing this.
Under pressure, bionic grenade connection, and Sir Margent takes the duel. Ultraviolet's going to be shut inside the spawn here, and Gator tries to throw down a bubble, give him somewhere to go right now. Florida are in position. They're not giving up right now. They can hold at least from here and maybe bait something. And yeah, the Reign realize, okay, we don't want to walk into anything ourselves.
No, and they got to wait for Surmajet to get back in the mix. He's going to get very close to a Nano, and a few options. Visor here. You're going to have a Blade very shortly. Can Venom ruin all of that with a beautifully placed pulse bomb, though we saw from Proper earlier?
That might be the win condition here. Another Nano available for Ultraviolet. Okay, well, those legs get you out of trouble there for Hydron. Pulse bomb got to be dropped well behind him. Here goes Gator with the Nano boost here, and it's a bionic grenade on the back line. Ultraviolet, OG, you're in deep trouble. Checkmate has the blade. Hydron from the high ground has the perfect position to go for this tactical visor. OG's shield is cracking, crumbling, but Venom and Gator are able to find 2 apiece.
A huge clutch there from Gator and Venom. You use the rally, you get on in, and Florida dumped it all in there. Nothing here at the end. Maybe you'll have the rally here, but you also have to get the Brig in position because the Widow's set up on the high ground.
The Mayhem got forced to play inside those close corridors, right where the Reign wanted him. Kai needs to be dealt with here. He could end this round. So he does give up that high ground here. Neither team has a lot to work with. Animo has a rally soon. Kai playing some very obscure angles here. There's the rally, Matt.
I think it's just a threat that Kai poses right now, right? She had to sleep onto someone on the high ground. Not going to be able to capitalize on that, but a headshot onto Checkmate.
Can't ask for much more than that. Kai opens up the account for the Reign in this fight. And someone, what does he do? Looking for the Widow, perhaps? He overshoots it. Kai's able to get back in the spawn and stay alive. And Gator wants to pressure down a sleep down towards someone. And Kai is popping off. That's 3 for the Widowmaker here on defense. And someone has to leave the cart to chase him.
He is so good at Widow. I said, just ride with it. Give him the opportunity to win the game, right? He does it on offense for them, comes up huge with some big picks. Ultraviolet with the Kai diff in the chat. And you saw it in that second half. Florida did not want to mess with that Widow v Widow matchup.
Right. The Mayhem chose Gibraltar. They wanted to mirror Winston compositions, but I guess they forgot about Kai. And that Widow battle that the Mayhem could not win. Into the danger zone now if you're a Mayhem fan. They get another map pick. You better hope it's a good one, or they're going to get kicked out of the series.
Two shots, dead in the ground, we ain't the same, pull up. 3 rounds, bro, you done. We let it rain, head pop. So look out when we in the zone. Don't play around. I got a strap, put to your back. Tell you now, we laying it down. Yeah, bands up, trapped out. I bring the dogs, gang out. Look, don't wanna fade and drop out. Got no clout. Think smart, this crucial. We ain't no average usual. Nah, we let it rain. Ain't seen a savage. Who you?
In a bid to keep the game in their comfort zone, the Florida Mayhem select Gibraltar for our 3rd map in this series, but they didn't account for how ferocious Kai would be on the Widowmaker on land, and the Atlanta Rain snap up another map. Now the Mayhem, they better have something good up the sleeve.
Yeah, they thought it was mostly force the Rain to play some Winston-based stuff, some like aggressive dive. Probably overlooked the fact that, you know, you're going up against Kai on the Widowmaker, and all it takes is a few headshots for him to get hot. And
she hits different on land as well.
Yeah, and just dominating. As we go to push, like I expected in the first series, like I talked about, I expect most teams to select New Queen Street, and we're going to have that selected here by the Florida Mayhem, trying to keep themselves alive in the series. And this allows the Atlanta Rain to go back to some of the other stuff they were talking about. We've seen Atlanta Rain run some Doomfist comps here. Maybe we see them run the Zarya again, as they do have subs, bringing back in that Hawk and Nero lineup.
Definitely another pivot here from the Atlanta Rain. And look, this is the kind of map where you think, okay, look, maybe the Doomfist feels pretty good here. We've seen a lot of teams that have actually started playing more Doomfist on that map, like Gladiators, for example. See Rhino take the Doom on that particular map. Yeah, so you don't have to sort of make as precipitous a climb on New Queen Street as you do on a map like Colosseo. Still a bit of high ground to work with. Most often, though, it's really about the flanks than that sort of high ground advantage. See Nero there, taking his seat once more. And maybe, hey, that Zarya comes out of the mix as well. See him get to sort of continue to work the Reaper play.
And Nero gives you the flexibility of, if you want to play the Doomfist with the Tracer, you can. If you want to play Zarya with the Reaper,
he literally played Pharah on this map last as well, against that Reinhardt setup they faced. Hawk comes back in for Gator at tank, and we're really seeing a lot of interchangeability between DPS and tank players on this team. It gives Atlanta Rain a bit of depth. Something that maybe Florida has chosen not to try and display, and I think maybe they might be getting caught off guard here by their sort of reliance and desire to stick to that one composition.
Well, they do have Xe on the roster, right? I just don't. He's not here yet.
Not quite yet.
Yeah.
No.
So
I'll put it out there. Like, I don't think we sort of see Hydra come in. We expect him to dominate Kai. He has some good moments there, but over like a longer sample size, a longer series, it's really hard for him to keep up with the consistent output of someone who's been at league level for a long time and is famed specifically for his sort of long-range hit scan.
On the 76, I think you're there, right? In terms of like the matchup between Kai and Hydra, and I think like you can match that. I think the Widowmaker is the one where you see the big difference.
Maybe a little bit hard as well for that individual prowess to shine on the Soldier by comparison, right? Just because a lot of the damage you put out is designed to be consistent. Soldier is really designed to pressure the enemy's healers into sort of, keeping their attention away from certain other targets, right? Allow your Tracer to get in and sort of punish that. So a little bit easier to be flashy, show flair on Widow, but when it comes to playing that 76, you really need consistent output over the course of the round. If you go off the boil, your team is just going to get destroyed. Your healers won't be able to keep up.
And we talked a bit about it. Like, I was not worried about Atlanta coming into this in terms of like pressure on land, playing in front of the crowd.
Yeah, they feed off it.
Florida, I think there is some pressure. And to drop 2 maps in a row and on the brink of being dropped into the loser bracket, you're the higher seed, right? And I feel like there's a lot of pressure going in this map. The beginning of this map is going to be huge. Like, if Atlanta wins like the fights like early, I could totally see it snowballing in Atlanta's favor.
I mean, you rely on Anamo's seniority, his experience here. God, he's been on some of the most storied teams in Overwatch League history.
Yeah. The New York teams didn't have the best runs in the playoffs, but still.
It's been a while since they've been, that threat. But here we go. I mean, the Mayhem have to try and force a map 5 scenario here. It's going to have to go all the way if it's going to go their way. you know, wouldn't be too shocked to see a comp that sort of looks like this. I wonder about the Hanzo. I guess there's some value to be had, especially when it comes to those ultimate combos.
You're going to see the Reaper.
Yeah.
You're going to see the Reaper. So, do you play, you'll play the 76. What do you
How now, brown cow?
Hanzo. Okay. Interesting. It gives like a, I mean, Hanzo's like burst damage, right? It's really strong. Maybe you feel like with the bubbles, you can take advantage of someone. I mean, he gets just burned down. I mean, he's probably shocked there's a Hanzo on the other side. You can play like off angles, right, with the 76. Like set up like crossfire type scenarios. It's interesting. Look. Oh my! See, like this is what's great about like these type of events, right? Is like teams pull out like there's stuff you save in these online matches that you don't need to use to beat some teams. Where maybe this is a little bit of a pocket pick. Maybe they want to try something a bit different. Also for push, it gives you like a combination of ultimates that's like almost like a guaranteed fight win of like grab dragon,
yeah.
right? There's not many ultimates that can do that, and now
You're not resilient against Tracer's pressure, I think.
Yeah.
That's kind of the problem. Beautiful little pick there from Nero, but it's crazy that it takes more than killing an Ana to win the fight there. So, back to the drawing board.
this is the safer pick. Like if you're trying to punish the tanks and whatnot, safer than the Hanzo. Reaper with his lifesteal, the ability to bubble, gain the Zarya charge.
The Mayhem just straight up did not look comfortable playing against Reaper Zarya on King's Road.
No.
They end up playing right.
And look at the positioning here. Like Nero is playing directly in front of Hawk. Like he is effectively like tanking in this type of scenario until Hawk gets the necessary charge.
Got any more bubbles?
Yes.
The answer is yes. Hawk's able to stave off that pulse bomb, but that consistent damage being put down by Hydron eventually breaks the dam. And this Tactical Visor is going to be scary for Hawk. Yeah, gets Nano, Bio, and what?
So I feel like it falls apart a little bit. If you do not run down the other team and like force those fights and allow the 76 to just poke at range, the Zarya runs out of bubbles, the Reaper doesn't have the Wraith, and then you're just kind of standing there. There's not really a lot of cover. And that's when you see it kind of fall apart. The next fight up though, Graviton Surge here for the Atlanta Reign. Should be able to stop this before that first checkpoint.
Yeah, they do. We don't see a forward spawn achieved here for the Florida Mayhem. Yeah, again, there's a sound barrier here. Will help with the grab, but it won't be enough on its own. It really depends what Hawk can sort of connect with here. The Mayhem are playing very split. And Hawk can't really unseat them from that high ground position, so they continue to be a nuisance from the... Oh, I love it! Okay. Sound barrier, though, was in response. Animo is not able to hang on and survive. Kai's Tactical Visor now gets brought out later in the fight. Takes a big hit from Hydron, I think. There he's forced to break line of sight, play a little bit more cagey here. As I love the confidence from Hydron moving in. It's going to pay off.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, I think in the Soldier 76 battle, it's been pretty even thus far. I think Hydron has definitely played quite well on the 76. It's just been on that Widowmaker, which is not impactful on all maps. As Checkmate goes in, touches the robot a little bit, stalls out progress. It'll be a Death Blossom on deck here for Nero. Can he get in a sneaky position, get this one off?
Wide flank here from Kai. Checkmate really just trying to do some scour. That's perfect. The bubble blow from Hawk is going to save the life of Ultraviolet. There won't be one to protect him from the Helix Rocket direct hit from Hydron, though.
Yes, it's a huge bubble, though. Able to keep him alive for a little bit longer than probably expected. OG, though, takes out Checkmate, so a bit of a trade. You lose to Zarya. I mean, that is it's a good source of damage. Bubble, survivability, you're not going to be able to fight out of that.
Yeah, Soldier can throw a Biotic Field if you need a bit of healing in a pinch while you wait for your Ana to return. It's definitely a trade up for the Mayhem. And they have that early lead here, right? We're over halfway in this map. The Reign really need to break through in consecutive engagements now.
I was going to say early lead. We're more than halfway through.
Yeah, over halfway. That's right.
So how do you get value out of this Death Blossom? Like it's got to be on some type of flank. Like Nero's so low.
it's a wraparound here from the Florida Mayhem. The Florida Mayhem is kind of taking the Atlanta Reign side of the map.
The Atlanta Reign clearly not really ready for this. Nero TP's in. Someone has to jump out. Oh, the Death Blossom right to Hydra. The party grenade came in, though, from Sir Margin. And it keeps Hydra alive. He can tack Visor into the Reaper. So Nero ends up coming up with nothing. This is very bad for Atlanta.
It's bad, but you're not going to be able to get that much progress off of this, right? You just have the Tracer, 76, and Lucio available. So maybe you get to this point, maybe a little bit further, and then Checkmate will have to back up. You see how far the rest of the team is spawning. You're going to have to give this up.
Still 57.18. The Atlanta Reign have 2.5 minutes here to beat that. Again, eyes on that Checkmate pulse bomb here. And that would be, I mean, that would be basically the bell tolling for Atlanta if they get cut down by that. Nero spotted out there on top of the shuttle. Coming up in big ultimates for Atlanta. They get both support ultimates online at the same time. This is their moment. Anamo's a fair way away from his here. The question is, when does the trigger get pulled?
Oh, now, yeah, it's going to be sound barriers. They're just poking down the Atlanta Reign at range. They use that sound barrier aggressively. They take out someone, and then they'll get it moving.
Yeah, it's someone tries to dive in there. Immediate beam response from OG, and then someone realizes he does not want to be there at all. Just a sound barrier drawn out of Atlanta there. Still some really impactful ultimates, and that's what Atlanta need to do. Ration these key abilities here over the next 2 fights.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely not over, right? Nano, Grab, Tac Visor, all available for the Atlanta Reign, and they're not that far behind. What, another fight? You know, you see where this next fight's going to take place. Florida doesn't want to give up that high ground. Another fight, and you're in the lead.
90 seconds left in the round here. Someone getting topped up. It's going to be a Tac Visor here. Someone's in a perfect position, though, to use his Primal to interrupt. Kai, though, rotates away from the Winston. Now towards him. 2 with that Nano Visor, and yeah, now you're in good shape for Atlanta. You're in position to equalize.
Well, see, this is so dangerous because if Atlanta takes the lead here, right, Florida is going to have to dump some of these ultimates in, and Atlanta is not really pressed to go all out. Atlanta will have a grab here. It's going to be a big investment early on.
Graviton Surge, Hydra, even with the sound barrier on him, is going to be brought down, and he went for the tactical visor as well. You talk about the Mayhem being able to win this fight, that might not even be a possibility here. Hawk backs up, hit with a friendly bio, 100 shards, he's ready to rumble. I don't have Nero to work with right now, but it looks like the Reign still have enough confidence to pressure. Someone going to dig deeper. Here's that Primal Rage. Those ultimates are getting drawn out as you suspected with 30 seconds left in the round. The Mayhem need to schlep over to the other side of the map.
And what's wild here, and I'll call it out, we are tied in terms of distance pushed. So the bot will go all the way back to the other side of the map. As it is.
Now, what do you know about this situation?
It is very rare. You can't tie this, though.
Oh, dear. All right, front spawn there for the Reign. Now, denied. Both teams 57.18 meters. Going to put us in an overtime scenario.
And because they're tied, I believe it will stay in OT as long as either team has somebody on the bot.
That's big. Death Blossom cut short by Nero. The pulse bomb stick from Checkmate was perfect. Still, the Mayhem have lost someone here, and Hawks is thinking, okay, well, I need to keep this pushing, right? Overtime, pretty critical moment, but Checkmate is causing all sorts of problems here. It's like a 2v2 in this scenario. Someone's going to be switching with the Reigner in position here. Just push a little bit further, and now it's the bot. Is he going to...
I wonder how much experience the players have in this scenario where it's tied. As
just a little bit longer. So close. The bot just has to push past this checkpoint. Someone's going to get brought down here. This has gone wrong for the Florida Mayhem, and they're going to get shoved off. The Atlanta Reign make it happen.
Well, we'll have to get a clarification. It does say that Florida Mayhem have won that. So,
right. The phone, ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody in the lobby is so confused over who won. They're all typing, oh, we won, who won?
Oh, the Mayhem!
So it is an Atlanta Reign win.
Okay, they will celebrate. They're going to be told that. We know that before they do.
Okay.
So it looks like in this build there is a visual bug on the end card.
Gotcha.
that caused it to come up as the Mayhem winning. But
Right, because the Atlanta Reign were on the bot. They had gotten the kills.
look at Nero
They had
trying to
pushed
figure
it.
it out. It is confirmed an Atlanta Reign map and match win, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the bot only had to move a fraction of a meter in that overtime phase to give it to them. They're about to be informed that. Isn't it nice, everybody, to know some key information before them? And there's a celebration. Oh my goodness, we are in uncharted territory, ladies and gentlemen. But the scoreboard says it all. 3-1 is a final series score.
The only thing that would have been better is if it popped up Boston Uprising. But no, I mean, that's a crazy scenario. And I was wondering, like, if the players even knew kind of how that works in that type of just, like, at that point, if, like, both teams would have gotten off of the bot, right, and nobody's contesting it, it would have actually been a draw with the same amount of time. But as long as one team is on it, it'll keep going, kind of like any other game mode.
Yeah, and it's got a lot to do with the fact that the bot stops for a pretty long period of time at that checkpoint, right? The butt scratch, we call it.
Yep, and then all it takes is for him to kind of go back into that animation where it looks like he's going to go forward, and they were, what, 0.01 away?
Yes.
Which that's why you see it end so fast.
It's the smallest sort of division possible. And again, the Mayhem sort of couldn't see it because they got team wiped. I think they thought for a moment that Atlanta had just inexplicably walked off of the bot, but that's not the case. So away we come. Atlanta were like, yeah, we won, right? Yeah. You can flip a coin right now if you like. We can go to 5 maps. But look, great recovery from Atlanta after a really shaky end to the kickoff clash. I mean, this is a team that, I mean, their future pretty uncertain. They'd already proven their grit and determination many times in the past, but showing now they have that Zarya composition, that's a big step forward for them here.
What a wild first 2 series. We have the Justice go up 2-0, then get reverse swept. We have the number 7 seed Atlanta Reign, right? They take out the Florida Mayhem in a push game that goes to OT, like as long as we have ever seen an OT, completely tied in terms of distance. A wild 2 games.
That cheeky visual bug thrown in there as well. I mean,
we've had it all already.
Again, the Florida Mayhem, their journey is far from done here. You got to understand, being 4 seed, I mean, they don't actually get to choose, even though they do technically do. There's no other teams left to choose. No one, Atlanta are 7th. No one wanted to choose them.
Yeah, I mean, their roster is extremely talented. They looked phenomenal at the beginning of the kickoff clash. And I think it was probably hard for teams to determine, like, is this team one that's going to, slide off a little bit and, maybe be an easy out? Or is it just they've run into a tough matchups of teams, right, that they're going up against? And that results in some losses, where I think you see today, they definitely have the talent to get it done.
And yeah, peaking at the right time here in the kickoff clash. Really close map, and we're seeing obviously the Mayhem that there's like heavy reliance on that Winston-based composition. Where is Reinhardt? In the London Spitfires playbook. Yeah, it's about it for the time being. But again, we did see it briefly from the Mayhem when they were evidently struggling on Kings Road to deal with that Zarya Reaper setup. So this might be a warning to Florida. Hey, there's going to have to be some more substrata to your strategies here.
Yeah, I think Florida, it's interesting because teams will probably look at that match and say, like, can we replicate that and do that against them and be able to beat them where we haven't seen them with a different look?
All right, we're going to head down to the stage in just a moment here. Danny has got us an interview lined up with one of the calmest, most measured voices in the Overwatch League. Danny, take it away.
Thanks, guys. Yes, I am here with that person that has the most calmest voice, but killer instincts, Kai from Atlanta Reign.
Hello.
I do have to ask before I start this interview. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, give him some energy. There you go. That ending. You guys won, but then everyone's a little confused if you guys actually won or not. What was going through your head when that happened?
I don't know, like I thought someone C9 on a team or something, I don't know. But like, it's a beta, so.
Hey, but now we're clear. Now we're clear that Atlanta Reign won the match, and of course, I feel like you sort of deadlifted. You were going crazy on that Soldier and the Widow. Why are you so good? That's not really a question, but I just want to know.
I'm gonna be honest, like the first few maps, I was kind of trolling. Like I was playing so bad, but then, busted out the Widow, took over. After that, it was just easy.
Yeah, you sure did. And also, I mean, I feel like all of Atlanta Reign players were really good. But, you know, if you go back a little bit, you know, you guys had some tough matches before this. You guys lost to London. You guys also lost to the Gladiators. How were you able to turn things around against the Florida Mayhem today?
Honestly, think they're worse than those teams. But, like, we just went over the matches, and we knew what we needed to change. Just basically tried harder, honestly.
All right. Well, you guys got the dub today, and that means tomorrow you guys will be facing off against the San Francisco Shock. What were your opinions? Did you watch their game? What were your opinion on the San Francisco Shock?
Yeah, they're a pretty good team. I mean, like, they're all-star players, you know, but, like, no one's better than me, so.
There you go. That's the answer that I like. Kai, thank you so much. That is it for the post-match interview. Let's head back to our casters.
There's something to be said for delivery. You know, when you make a statement like, you know, nobody's better than me, if you can just deliver it in that deadpan manner, I feel like it has just some extra impact.
Well, I mean, also, like I think every player, like, would give, like, if you were, like, polling players, like honestly, like, every player would give that answer. It's like, just, usually everybody's just kind of like, oh, they're really good, like, we'll see what happens.
I mean, in his defense,
you should have that confidence, though.
When we talk about top widows, in his defense, Kai is usually the top of that list. You know, like, I think there's, like, Happy and Arns are definitely in that same conversation, but I mean, this guy's really been popping up. He also, ladies and gentlemen, is your player of the match for this series against the Florida Mayhem. And look, I think it's an important distinction to make because the Mayhem, they go Gibraltar, hey, we can play Winston here, we've got them. I feel like they definitely didn't account for what Kai could produce on that particular map. That's what may have put them in a losing position in this series, but again, tough to quantify Soldier 76's impact in some of these maps because it's constant, it's consistent, it's ever present as Kai was in many of these fights.
He's so consistent on the 76, right? They're just tracking in the aim so good. I think where the series turns, though, is when he's able to play that Widowmaker at a high level on Gibraltar. Gibraltar is a map pick for the Florida Mayhem. They fully expected to take advantage of probably the Winston-based compositions of the Atlanta Reign, and Kai shut all that down real quick. And then you go to New Queen Street, and that's kind of an even map for all these teams. And it's really this Widowmaker play on Gibraltar, stealing this map, that makes the difference in the series.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff is sort of happening as well while there's a Winston dive going on. Kai is not only, you know, winning the Widow versus Widow battle, but just constantly Hydron switches to Tracer.
They stopped playing it. They started playing Genji.
Yep.
The Genji
Tracer, whatever they could. It wasn't enough. Really impressive stuff here for Kai. Someone who's also getting dived in a lot of these fights, right? This is his Soldier 76 stats. Very, very, very impressive performance. The guy's known for being a particularly meticulous aimer. That's where like a lot of his fame sort of came from, and that seems to continue to be the case, especially in a game like Overwatch 2, where that individual impact is going to be amplified that much more.
And with how the Shock played today, like, you know, if it's a Shock of the first two maps, like, that's a winnable series for Atlanta. Yeah. I think that's going to be a pretty good one.
No doubt about it. Looking forward to seeing those two teams go to head. We've got more to decide here today, though. A couple Texas teams that need to see if they're going to make their way forward in the upper or lower brackets. So stick around for that one, everybody. This is day one of the Kickoff Clash Tournament here, live from the Esports Stadium in Arlington. See you after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to our game break. Lots to unpack, lots to break down, because we're treated to some absolute fantastic Overwatch so far. 2 series in, and I'm already emotionally